Hello, everybody. You've got a afternoon edition of Inside the Locker Room. I am your host, John Losey. Thanks for clicking on here. I appreciate it. My name is John Losey, as hopefully most of you know by now. And I just hear my good friend clicking in right now as I was just getting started. Mike's quick on the draw, but this is John Losey, Inside the Locker Room afternoon edition. The state lacrosse tournament going on fast and furious, and couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to get on to talk about some of the things over these first couple of days. And I got my good friend, Mike Costello, who's chiming in right now. His day, his free hour, talk about some of the things going on with inside lacrosse here in the state of Michigan. Mike, how you doing, my friend? Mike, I hear his classroom. Is the benefit of doing a podcast during the workday as real life interludes. Mike? We're going to talk with Mike on the phone or in the Zoom without him actually responding. So, really the topic that we want to talk about today is, Mike Costello, once he joins us here, created the blowout. Oh, there he is. Mike?
Yeah.
Hey,
how are you?
Good. We heard all the rumblings going on inside your classroom, so we felt like cool again there for a second.
I've got 7th grade boys for art class, so it was a little interesting for sure.
Now that sounds hectic.
Yes.
What school?
Absolutely.
When are you guys done with school?
Our last day of teaching is Friday, and then we have 4 days of finals, 4 half days of finals, and then we're done.
All right, you're counting down the days, I bet, eh?
A little bit, yeah.
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
Going on with the school year and whatnot. So good. Well, hey, thanks for jumping on and taking up your.
Sure.
Is this your lunch hour normally? Are you going to be able to eat or?
No, I'm good. I had lunch, so we're all good. I'm all set.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I just jumped on and I was just telling the folks out there that, I couldn't wait, right? I mean, everything that's gone on, within the first, really the first round on the boys side, really the boys and the girls, but I think we'll spend, we'll weave back and forth a little bit. We don't have all day to do it, but,
Sure.
Really what we've seen over the last, really in these first rounds is it goes back to what you created, infamously a couple of years ago was the blowout meter, right?
Yeah, it was a blowout counter just to kind of put numbers to a lot of the one-sided games that were going on in the tournament. And unfortunately, there were so many. There were a ton of blowouts, especially in the first and second rounds. And interestingly enough, I think the numbers were pretty much the same on the girls' side as there were on the boys' side.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was crunching some numbers, and so I actually got some good data points that we'll talk about a little bit. But everybody knows, and my involvement with Brother Rice, and I do the scheduling at Rice. I've had 2 sons go through. I got a senior there,
Yep.
The broadcasting, and it's kind of how I've gotten into all of this, the healthy hobby that I'm so enjoying. And this year's been great. I've had great response from folks about broadcasting, all the cool stuff, and the brackets. The brackets have been awesome.
Yep.
And so, I've been keenly aware as we've gone through this first round to, Brother Rice has got the shadow on him or whatever you want to do. And so yesterday, they're matched up against Sterling Heights Stevenson, and
Right.
you know where that's going to go, right? And so, it's just what's the number going to be? How's it going to work out? How's it going to play out? And so you look at that in itself, right? And so you see the 36-0 and everybody freaks out and my DM blows up and people are texting me and it's like chaos. And I'm like, listen, step back. Let's talk about this because, it's a number and I get it. And my concern for the kids and the love of the game and the embarrassment, 100% on board with that. I actually went out to Orchard Lake St. Mary's on Saturday morning and I watched Orchard Lake St. Mary's play Bay City, right? Mm-hmm. And my only goal was to go because I wanted to see Bay City. I want to see that team and the coaches and the players just to experience that, because I don't get to see that often. And then
Right.
I went to Birmingham and I watched Warren Cousineau play Birmingham. And I stood with the Warren Cousineau parents and I talked to them and I listened to their coaches just because of the setting.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole goal is around kind of what we're talking about, right? The growth of the game and what really is the crux of what's going on when we look at these blowouts. So I'll stop there. I set the stage. So give me your thoughts before we dive into some of this.
It kind of goes, and a long time ago, I was a proponent of a 3-division setup. And I look toward the English Premier League where they have like a relegation status. If you don't qualify to be in the top division, you're sent down. And
Right.
another team that had a great season is sent up to Division 1. And I always thought that, and the MHSAA did not like the idea, was to divide all the teams based on experience, but then also how well they were playing. And yes, I know that some teams might get a few kids that, I don't know, transfer from Maryland and some kids that are homegrown, and they built a powerhouse. I mean, Heartland has done that. Yep. Over the years. So you have a group, let's call it an A group for simplicity, and you take the top, say, 32 teams in the state based on experience and how well they're doing at that time. And then everybody else falls in line. And then you play up to try and get into that division. So rather than, well, if you're in the B division and you win the state championship in the B division, your reward is you get to go up and play with the big boys. Right. And if you have a poor season playing with the big boys, you might have lost a number of kids to graduation. You're sent down, but you still can compete in the B division for sure. Yeah. And I think that takes away some of the blowouts. You would not see that in a tournament at all, I don't believe.
No.
And I think that the competitive balance would be fine. But I don't think the MHSAA wants to make decisions based on opinions of a group like that. I mean, they still draw names out of a hat for the girls' seeding for their tournament, for goodness sake. So I think it's a good idea. There was a number of people that thought it was a good idea, but then there's a number of people that said, we don't want to do that. And that's okay. Everybody's entitled. But at some point, you do have to limit the number of 36-0 or 22-0 or 22-1 games.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, they established the mercy rule, but you still have to play 3 quarters.
Right.
And, you know, who benefits from that? I don't know.
No, that was kind of in my thought process of making the rounds. And I was thinking about going out to Schwartz Creek tonight, you know, because you got Orchard Lake St. Mary's playing, I can't remember who they're playing. Goodrich. Playing Goodrich. They're playing Goodrich.
Yeah. And
so, you know, I mean, it's not like it's just going to be the first round, right? I mean, Brother Rice is playing Cass Tech on Thursday, right? And,
you know, that's a great story. I'm glad you bring that up. Cass Tech, and I saw the video that State Champs put out when they beat, I think it was
Valley.
Yeah, the kids were so happy just to play a home game.
Yeah.
To be competitive in the playoffs,
right,
and win. Oh my goodness, it was beautiful. That's what it's all about. And I think they probably could have had that experience sooner if things were a little differently organized. But you know, I expect it's going to be another. It could be 36-0 again.
Whatever the number is, right? I mean, you know, you do that as a coach, and I know the Brother Rice coaching staff well, and even as it was going on yesterday, you know, halftime, because we actually had senior night, and so I got to go out on the field and I wore orange pants, which are very sharp too, by the way, bright orange, awesome. But you know, I kind of went aside. I said, you know, what are you guys doing? And they're like, well, what do you want us to do? Because this is what happened in one of the other games I saw on Saturday, the Orchard Lake game, right? They were up, you know, Greg Durham was up 18-0, right? And everybody falls back to the Tierney rule, right? Okay, no, 19's the number, and you look at some of the scores, and it's like they're right at 18-19. But here's what I saw. I saw the entire third quarter of Orchard Lake St. Mary's passing the ball in a circle on one side of the field for the entire quarter. And I'm not knocking Greg Durham or Orchard Lake St. Mary's, right? people look at that score and they say, well, they did it the right way. They look at the Rice score and they, well, they did it the right way. So what I'm asking people this morning already is, if you are a player, right, would you prefer to have to chase one team around for an entire quarter for 12 minutes running clock? Or would you rather play with the opportunity to stop them, right, on a possession, get the ball, go the other way? But, the downside is that they may score, and it's not like any of these teams are running it up on purpose, right? I mean, it's just the natural flow of the game. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because anybody could get to the number and then run around. I mean, Rice was up, it was 20-something to nothing in the first quarter. So we could have done quarters of run around. How does that work?
It's not beneficial for the game. I mean, I've watched games where two quality programs, I mean, I fell asleep. I talked to one of the officials that was working the game. He was yawning. It was boring just moving the ball around. I don't think people want to see that for a half or a quarter. I can barely get through 3 minutes of that stuff. And I mean, you could establish a shot clock. And if you have a shot clock in high school lacrosse, it could have been, I didn't see the game yesterday, obviously. I mean, it could have been 70-0, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, if you're playing within a minute and a half to try and
no question
get a shot on goal.
Yeah.
So, I would rather see a shot clock with 32 good teams, which would be tremendous. I mean, Michigan, if they did that, if they did do the shot clock and did that division, they could be a leader, or at least close, in high school lacrosse. But yeah, getting back to the whole Tierney rule and so forth, I might be an odd person on the opinion. What's the difference between 19 and 22?
Just a number.
Not much. But again, if you've got second and third string kids who practice hard all week and you put them in the game and said, just spin the ball, that's like saying, you know what, you're just, you didn't really do enough to at least try and score a goal or make a good pass or dodge. And that's a disservice to those kids too.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I'm watching, I'm watching Bay City on Saturday, and I'm like, they're not going to, I mean, I was verbally, talking to the players, I was overstepping my bounds, which I tend to do, but I'm like, listen, they're not going to shoot. I press out on them, right? Move your feet, work the hands. They're not going to shoot.
Yeah.
So, and the parents were very complimentary. And I talked to the parents there. I talked to the parents at Warren Cousino. I mean, I was in their section, like I said, and even yesterday. And you know what the messaging was? Word for word. Why does the MHSAA do this to us? Right? Why do they do it to us? It's not why does Brother Rice do this to us? Why does Orchard Lake St. Mary's do this to us? It's like, why are we put in this position that this has to happen? Because they know it. I mean, it's going to happen. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I think Brother Rice was playing Lapeer West, and it was a similar score. But in reading all the social media posts, the kids from Anchor Bay, the parents from Anchor Bay, they were all, I don't want to say supportive of the route, but they understood it, and they appreciated the good lacrosse, and they appreciated the learning experience that the kids got.
Yeah.
Which totally went against all the people that were so critical. And there's so many people that are out that are critical. They look at a number and they get on their keyboard and they criticize without really having all the information.
Yeah. And going back to that game, because I was obviously there, but it was senior skip day for Anchor Bay. So all their seniors didn't go. Right. And so you're playing a developing program with, 14 kids. And so it was a recipe for disaster. But so you look at that game, and that got the big attention, right? And that really was the mercy rule. I mean, that really was facilitated that. And what's interesting is I read about the mercy rule today, Mike, and there's a clause in there, 4.3, I'll put it out on Twitter, but it says that if both coaches agree and the referee agrees, you can end the game whenever you want to. And so, in my mind, I'm going, all right, at any point in any one of these games, one coach can go to the other coach, hey, listen, let's cut this off at whatever. But nobody wants to play a half and then go home. Why? I mean, even if you're losing, why would you want to do that? Right. And so, it's just, it's people, like you said, looking at a number. It's the optics of it, right? They look at the number and they say, oh God, oh, that's Brother Rice again, Brother Rice again. But here's the interesting thing. So it resonated with me. And so I go back and now I'm looking at the brackets and whatnot. This is going on in every single first seed game across the board, both Division I, Division II, and then you dive into the number 2 seeds. Same deal. I mean, let me fire a stat at you. So Division I, number 1 seeds. All right. Average score 23-1. 23.
Yeah.
And you've got you've got Division I, number 2 seeds, 19-4. You got Division II, number 1 seeds. The average score 20-0.
Yeah.
20-0. And then Division II, 2 seeds, it's 18-2. And the goal differentials are 23-16, 20-16. So, I mean, it's not like, because Brother Rice had the highest number that all the darts are going to get thrown at them. It's everybody. And here's what's interesting too, Mike. I'm sorry, I'm rambling a little bit. I'll let you go. No. I'm seeing is because I'm trying to update the brackets, and I made a promise to everybody. All right, I'm going to update them in the morning, get them out, buddy. And I like doing it, and it's resonated. But what you're seeing is you're seeing teams that, maybe a little delayed in posting their score, or, to the MHSA, because I can't find it. And then I'm reaching out and then I'll get one score and then I'll get another score, and people are so focused on that number that it's causing the teams not even to want to report what the actual score is.
Yeah. What you've done with the brackets, I have to say is fantastic. I mean, and I've just seen so much positive feedback, and it's so much easier to look at it that way versus, you need some flow chart experience to try and figure it out. So, but I'm looking at, I was at a 3-6 game yesterday, finished 21-9. So, I mean, you're going to get 32 really good teams that are going to emerge that could all potentially play in some super conference, and then the rest. Now, if you look at the numbers and you look at the teams, and if you take away those top 32 teams and put those other teams in another bracket and another bracket, Division II, Division III, you're going to find that the games are going to, water seeks its own level. So a lot of those teams will play 10-9, and they don't all have to be overtime games, but you're going to see a lot more games that are within 3 and 4 goals than 20 goals. And I think as a parent, as a fan, as a player, I'd rather be involved in a close game where you're in the 4th quarter and you're sitting at the edge of your seat and it's like, wow, we have a chance to win. We have a chance to advance in this tournament that might mean something versus look at our draw. We're gonna get whooped again. And that
bubbled. Yeah, that's the quote, right? Why does the MHSA do this to us? Right. And that is the common theme. And it just, I just sit there and I'm like, well, what do we do here? I mean, you've got and we're not going to go into it, but you've got the talent level of the state of Michigan as a whole too. That's a separate topic, things to do to help that. We're looking at this, really in a transactional manner of what we're looking at within the tournament. But, you already know that the game is going to end that way. It's picking a number, right? I mean, it's picking a number of what you want it to be. And it doesn't do anybody any good. And sitting there watching teams just pass it around for an entire quarter. Rice could have done it for 2 quarters yesterday.
Yeah.
They could have done it for the whole game. I mean, it could have been because it just, and Heartland, you look at Heartland, they won 27-0 and they're playing at Howell tonight, who they just beat 27. You know what I mean? So it can happen again in these rounds too.
And there's going to be some big scores even in a regional final, because there are some teams that they're the only really good team in the region. I think they're diluted
big time.
And we've tried to propose the full 3-division realignment with a lot of different ways to do it. MHSA shut it down, and some programs don't want to go to 3 divisions. They want to be happy where they are, how they're competing, who they're playing against, and that's fine. But I think there's going to be a point where you're going to have to look at this. I mean, really look at it and say, yeah, we're tired of these blowouts. We really have to do something for the sport and make a decision to say, okay, let's get 10 knowledgeable people or 5 knowledgeable people in a room. Here's all the schools that play lacrosse in the state. Come up with, put some things on a board, come up with a 32, 32, 32, or whatever number it is, 3-division plan based on strength of program.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily size. Size has some merit. MHSA loves that. It's got to be based on school size, but base it on merit and see what happens. See how it works. I'd love to see just a couple of years, see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah. No, I mean, one of the things I was thinking about doing, in all the spare time I have, was doing something like that, right? I mean, the way I built the brackets out, I can move things around. It's all in Excel, and I've got pivot tables and all kinds of crazy stuff going. So, I probably will do something like that, and we'll just see what it looks like. But to your point, I went out, and I don't know if you saw this, but I did a broadcast for, Jenison High School invited me over to, come over there and stream the Mona Shores game.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I mean, it was, I said lacrosse for the soul, and it was just, and it was what it was. And you had a lot of talent, you had some talented players and balls flying all over the place. But it didn't make any difference, right? It made no difference whatsoever because it was competitive. It was a 10-9 game.
Mm-hmm.
And I would rather broadcast 10 of those games than a quarter of these other games that we're watching right now, where what the outcome is, and it's a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, I mean, as I fill out my brackets, and as they win, I try and update everything. So I could probably sit there and say, yeah, I write it in already. I don't even need to see a score and have it. I mean, I know who's going to win. It's hopefully when we get to the regional finals and the quarterfinals, there'll be a little bit more suspense.
Yeah, you've had, I was just looking, I think we've had 4 lower seeds win. And I think it was a 5/4, a 5/4.
Yeah.
And there was another bigger one that was maybe a 6 seed or somewhere in there.
Right.
It's just going as it would go. I mean, it's not even, it's not like we, if we did a March Madness bracket challenge where someone got them all right, we would lose time, right? I mean,
that's why it's easy. That's why I kind of, I pick 18 out of 20 or 18 out of 19. And when I do my brackets for the articles, once we get rolling, it's kind of easy, but it'll be difficult, a little bit more difficult when I get to the quarterfinals. And I hope it will. And I hope some of the teams say, oh, All Lacrosse Michigan doesn't think we're going to win. Let's put it to them. And that's okay.
What makes it fun? That's the water cooler talk, right? And I haven't done it. And people are like, when are you going to do your picks? I'm like, you know what? I'm not into picks, right? I mean, I'm just kind of doing, you handle the picks over there, Mike. You get you take it. So
I'm trying to get away from picks and rankings right now. There's a couple of things. This is something that I really am passionate about, and I'd love to see some change. But then also getting over to the girls' game, getting the tournament seeded, because I'm looking at the draw here. Let's see, Division II. I've have it circled. Detroit Country Day plays Marion. Basically a first round game.
Thursday.
Those 2 teams could have potentially either state semifinal, state final. First round, ridiculous. Yep. And I'm hoping that people get behind it, that the coaches get behind it, the parents and the fans, and push for a fully seeded girls tournament. They deserve it. The game has gotten so much better, so much more exciting. And, I'll go out and say the NCAA is messing with the girls' game now. Their semifinals, their Final 4 games are on Friday afternoon, like noon and 2. And it's like, are you kidding me? You've got 4 of the best teams in the country. They're awesome. And a local flavor, Izzy Skane with Northwestern, who should be the Tuarton winner.
Yeah.
Doesn't get a chance to play in front of millions of people
on a holiday weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, especially here in Michigan, people are going up north. People are doing things. They're not sitting on TV. And so, no, they did it last weekend where everything was on ESPN3 and they all laughed. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you know, I've got the daughter, my daughter Abby is a freshman now. And so I'm now getting into this and listen, I've tried and I'm going to get there, but you know, with everything going on in the girls game, I'm like, I gotta ease my way into this because I'll lose my mind with you know, the things that need to be, you know, tweaked, fixed in the girls game. It's like, whew, it's a tough one. But you know, and then we saw Midland play Heartland in a pre-regional game, right? It was a 13-12 game. Those are two very, very good teams.
I know.
13-12.
One of the best games I've ever seen, ever, and it was a few years ago. I made the choice. I'm going to Brighton to watch Cranbrook play East Grand Rapids girls. And I said, I'm not going to the boys game. I went to Brighton. It was like double, triple overtime in the heat. We had girls throwing up on the field. They were exhausted. It was, and Izzy Skane played for Cranbrook. An amazing game. One of the best games I've ever seen. Either gender. It was phenomenal. And the MHSAA owes them a little bit more respect, for sure.
It's just consideration. It's logic. I mean, a lot of, you know, and this isn't a bash the MHSA, right? I mean, we all want to work together under the parameters we have that are set in front of us, right? It's just, you know, a little bit of change is not difficult, right? It's like I want to send them the book Who Moved My Cheese to the entire MHSAA office. That it's not a bad thing here to do things a little bit differently to benefit the kids, right?
Right. All right. Picture this. A weekend in June, Friday, Saturday at Cranbrook at the Oval, where you have the girls play their championships Friday, the boys Saturday, vice versa, whatever. And it's a festival for lacrosse in the state of Michigan with all of that. I mean, think about that. That would just be amazing.
I do. I was at Cranbrook for the Catholic League finals because Mercy made the finals against Cranbrook, and I took a panoramic view as I was sitting in the stands. I'm like, why don't we have all the games here for the finals? I understand that, you know, they're going to fall back on the, you know, on the location piece, and and I get that, but we went through this, right? I did that whole of where the finals were in every other sport, right? Well, you know, Howell's a good facility, and it is a good facility, right? I don't have a problem with that, but you know, turning left at the plow, you know, to get to the state finals in my mind isn't appetizing, right? I mean, it's great venue. Look at Ann Arbor, right? I mean, that would be my second choice. Oval be one, and a great facility in Ann Arbor, which has the location factor.
Right.
Why is that so difficult to do?
Right. Great facility. They have the men's and women's teams play there. It's just, it's like the second perfect location.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I'm not going to figure it out today, but.
No. But
yeah,
we can try.
We're not solving anything today, Mike. I mean, we broke out of work here to talk, and we're really going to end it because, well, everything's going to happen the way that it is, but it helps me get it off my chest. And I hope that, you know, as we sit here, and I know you got to jump back to class, but you know, that people listen to this and it starts to think. And I think the biggest thing is forget about the number. The number is transactional in these scores. It is. It really is. It's not about that. We got to look at the deeper underneath, around the corner, under the surface of what's really going on here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you know, I think about, you know, I look at those kids out there, I'm like, they want to play, right? These kids want to play. They want to, you know, I mean, coming to Brother Rice, you know, is a cool thing, right? I mean, for our varsity Orange team, and I've got to get, you know, I try to talk to other varsity teams to come down and play our Orange team. And they're like, yeah, heck yeah. I want to bring my kids down to Brother Rice where you won X number of state championships. And
right.
Because it facilitates the game and it resonates with them.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, call me wacky, Mike, but I don't know. Nobody's like us, right? I mean, but
you know, it's the only thing that we can hope for is healthy discussion, that there's going to be somebody that comes along and listens and says, you know, that's not a bad idea. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes.
Yep.
And if it falls flat on its face, well, you tried for a year. Go back to what you've done and just see what you come up with.
Yeah.
It's not a, I mean, when they ask schools to, if they want to just go up a division to play, it's a 2-year commitment. Okay, so we make a 2-year commitment.
Yeah. Mike Capoletti did it with Country Day,
Yeah.
years ago, and he had a good team.
Sure.
He took his shot. He's like, I'm going, I'm doing it. And
why not?
I commended him for it. And he was close. I went back through with my daughter and I was doing the brackets, and we went on the MHSA website, and you go back historically back to 2005 and look at the regionals all the way up. And it was very cool to see some of the teams that, gave Brother Rice a run, and then Hartman and Wall Lake Wall Lake Northern was a team back then. And you look at the Rapids teams as well before they split or when they were together. And it's
Ann Arbor Pioneer for a year.
Yeah. Finals. And, it's just, we just seem to lose sight of that because everyone is so narrowly focused and myopic and looking at a number. And they want to throw darts at that without having any idea of what's really going on because, 27-0 is a common score. The division, like I said, the Division II #1 seeds are averaging 0 goals against them in the first round. There's no fairness in that at all.
No.
Cool.
No.
All right. Well, hey, I think this is good. A little quick.
All right.
Out there.
Awesome.
Anything else you want to talk about now, real quick?
For now, this is good. We should probably touch back when we get to I don't know, state semifinal, something like that.
Sure. If I put this thing out, I mean, I think it's resonating, right? I mean, the more out there, I mean, that's my whole thing is putting more content out because people are supportive. The broadcasting I've been doing, I mean, I'll tell you some of the stories offline, but, I've got grandparents and, in New York that are reaching out to me saying, thank you so much for all of this. We got to watch our grandson. I had a mom come up to me and say, listen, I was sick for about 4 weeks and your broadcast made me want to get back to this Rice game. And it gave me, I mean, a lot of things that like I'm tearing up and whatnot. And so, it's one guy like me and like you have been doing and I have that pushing towards the sport that, we just want it to be better for the kids and everybody.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Absolutely.
Very good, sir. All right, get back. Right. We got art class coming up.
Yep. One more.
All right. Teach them art. Picasso.
I'm going to try. Thanks, John. See you.
Bye-bye. All right. I'm going to wrap this up. Mike, you disappear as soon as you figure out how to do it. I always love Zoom. All right. There goes Mike. All right, folks. So, just to kind of bring this to a close, this isn't a bash MHSAA. That is not my intention here. And I know that I have said things and been vocal about a lot of things, but this is just logic, right? And you look at the numbers like I talked about. I mean, these scores are going off across everybody, right? Everybody. And we look at some of these games going on tonight, right? And you've got, Heartland playing Howell, right? I mean, that you know where that's going. And it's going to continue to go on. And then, I'm going to get the girls brackets out today as well, but you're going to see the same things. And so I guess my message to everybody as I shut this thing down today is, don't look at the number. Number doesn't matter. The number could be whatever anybody wants it to be. And to, the Brother Ice game specifically, you've got sophomores from the varsity orange team that are getting to play up on the, on the big stage with the varsity black team yesterday for the majority of the game. And, to pass it around, to me, if I was a player, I just want to play, right? If I can make one play during one possession, right? We make a save, ground ball, I get it, I go, right? Then that matters to me, right? Rather than chasing people around, trying to get the ball away from them as if they're keeping it inside the box, because they are. They're keeping it inside that field of play for the entire quarter to keep the score around Tierney's 19-0, which was 20 years ago, I think, and for the college game, right? So to fall back on that in my mind is like, come on, right? I mean, is that what we're going to do? So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Hey, before you click out of this, click on subscribe. Every time I go live or post new content, it'll pop up, and I don't do it a lot. So some people are like, I don't want to subscribe because I'm going to get spammed with a bunch of stuff from Losi's locker room. Not the case, right? I am very conscientious about, what I do on here and everybody's time and the notifications and being a nuisance. That's not my goal. I may be a nuisance a little bit on Twitter, but you don't have to enable those notifications and you'll just end up seeing it. But so I appreciate everybody. Go out, support lacrosse in your community. Go out, see a game. That's why I built these brackets. It really is a big part of why I did it, so that you got it on your phone. You just scroll through and say, hey, what's going on tonight, right? Like I was talking about going to Schwartz Creek. I can't find anything locally really to go to. But, use it on your phone. I did it on Saturday. It was perfect. I was like, all right, I'm going to the Orchard Lake St. Mary's game. What's next? Right, here I am. And then I could have gone to the Rochester Adams game, but I fell asleep. So please use them. I'm going to update them every night to get those updated. I'm running some similar numbers too. I'm going to keep track of these scores, but do all you can to support the kids. And if there are blowout games that you get to, cheer it, right? Cheer it on, right? Let them play and let them just figure it out. And, it's a bigger seated problem that we talked about with Mike. Appreciate Mike joining me. Hit subscribe. I'd appreciate it very much. Follow me on Twitter @LaxLosi, @LaxLosi on Twitter. Subscribe here. I'm going to get on Instagram. I think people tell me I got to do a bunch of other stuff, and I'll try to do that as well. So appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. There's a little afternoon special here, Losi's Locker Room, posted up here pretty soon so everybody can take a listen on your way home from work, hopefully. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks.